I'll say hello from the. Oop, hi.
Okay.
Who's opening?
I hit the button.
Supposed to be Chris. Hi from the dungeon.
Somebody hit the button a little
Look,
early
shit's
here.
Back there.
Yeah. So this is where Matt was kidnapped from. So they let
I'm
you.
working from home today, and I am doing my damnedest to not get interrupted by children. So I'm in my shop.
Oh, I thought you were just hung upside down. They just cut you down and let you loose for the pod.
No, I mean there's gear for that,
Punch back.
but like I'm
Gotcha.
I'm in the dungeon.
All right. You shoot from a lot of different places. I shoot from the same spot almost all the time. Maybe my house, but for the most part, office. Sometimes it's traveling. Sometimes
It's if
That's
I'm
just a nomad.
I got to shoot somewhere other than my home office because the kids just run in.
See, I don't have that problem. I just have a dog. So
I also have the husky and 3 cats.
Oh boy.
7 kids, 1 dog, 3 cats, 0 privacy.
you could have said that for the dog. The 3 cats is just scary. But all right. Last week we covered a little bit of Operation Winter Shield by the FBI. Do we have anything else we want to talk about first before we dive into the last part of this? I know everybody's waiting for this, so
Yeah, people want to hear what's going on, Chris. You're keeping everybody on edge.
Keeping everybody on edge. Yeah, I know. I live for this stuff. I'm sure everybody else does. I mean, my feed on LinkedIn and stuff like that, it's fantastic. All right, let's jump into this.
Part 2.
Yeah, building a little bit of resilience. Last week was part 1. Matt wasn't here for that. Hopefully Matt watched the replay. All right, let's start off strong today. Backups. Everybody talks about it. Nobody has them. It's amazing. Some people have them. I've seen a lot of stories though about where people get ransomware and they clearly don't have backups, or they were actually deleted before the ransomware took place. So let's break this down. What are offline backups? Anybody?
I feel like
3, 2, 1. Let's go get it someplace. Let's make it let's get off backups that aren't in our data center and aren't accessible online. How about that? Right.
What does immutable mean?
Can't change it. Tracked.
Exactly. So we can set an immutability for backups to a certain point, right? So let's say we set 90 days. It means anything in the last 90 days cannot be deleted no matter what you do until that expires. Let's just say you can make it longer than that, but let's just say 90 days. So how many people do you think have immutable backups? Purely scientific.
Oh, probably less than 1%.
We'll go with that. I like that one.
So we're talking businesses or the average person though? Businesses? Yeah. That's tough. I'd say 10% that I come across at this point, to be honest.
I think you're being
many claim to. 100% of my clients, just for the record.
Many claim to. I like that. Yeah, I claim a lot of things, but apparently, you need to back it up sometimes, actually do proof. Mm. So we need offline backups that are stored someplace differently. They're not available on our network. Usually people choose the cloud. Some people would choose like a hard drive or something like that they can just unplug. It's offline. You can't get to it, right? Unfortunately, hard drives aren't immutable, so we have that problem to solve, right? And then when we talk about 3 copies of our data, what are we talking about?
Is that a test?
Yeah, it's a test. Why not?
No. Usually you ask a question and then keep blowing on, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, I want to... This is a test.
3 copies.
Yep.
Live, online backup, offline backup.
It's original data plus 2 backups, right? 2 different places. Close enough. So let's say we have a server. Our data's on the server. That's 1 copy. We have a local backup, 2nd copy. And then we should go to the offline backup immutable for the 3rd copy.
You classify shadow copies as a 2nd copy or not?
Do you think that you have 100% of your data in shadow copies?
No, I do not. But
okay, let's go no then.
I once heard someone
I'm just saying some people
shadow
think
copies.
some people falsely think that I have RAID, so I have extra copies because I have multiple hard drives.
Let me tell you a story about RAID. Quick story. This is how I got my company started. It was 2000. I started my company before that, but One of my first major clients, 2009. He had a Dell server. He had RAID. One of the drives failed. It was RAID 1, which means you should be able to lose one drive and you're good, right?
Yeah.
Well, Dell had a minor firmware bug in the RAID controller that when the one drive failed, you couldn't read the other one either.
Oh,
it was so redundant. The failure was redundant as well. That's amazing.
So I spent 4 days on site rebuilding, and then we found out that his tape backup at the time, he wasn't testing his tape backups, so he lost 30 days because the last 30 days of backups, the tapes were bad.
It's a lot of work.
So, yeah.
So RAID is not a backup strategy.
Nope.
Shadow copies are not a backup strategy.
No.
What's a backup strategy?
3, 2, 1. Take a backup. At least have an on-site backup. It's gonna be hard to make that immutable. It depends on what you're using, but the off-site backup should be immutable, meaning that it can't be changed for a certain period of time. That's really critically important, especially in a situation of ransomware or something like that. But I want to take this one step further. Whatever you think your recovery time is, if you are trying to restore, multiply that by 4 or 5, and that's going to be the true time. So if your backup takes 8 hours to run or 5 hours to run, multiply that by minimum of 4 to 5 times, because that's how long it's going to take to recover.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's off site, all bets are off, because now you're relying on the ability to download that.
Well, and that's an important point, because I come across and work with people all the time who, we have offsite image-based backup. That's great. Have you ever downloaded a 150 gigabyte server image and try to restore it quickly? It's not a thing.
No.
Otherwise,
we're actually talking to onboarding a client right now that the existing person has all their backups sitting over in Backblaze. Mm-hmm. And
that's great if you have 6 months to recover it.
They actually did recover in under a week when they had to, because Backblaze will actually send them a hard drive of the S3 data store.
I actually know that was an option. That's kind of cool, but I don't want to rely on that.
But UPS for the win on that one.
Man, that's
maybe as that offline backup. I mean, I'd count that as a.
Yeah. Again, sometimes you have to go offline, right? You have to go to that.
It was a ransom recovery, so it was.
But now
you were going offline
between backup and actual redundancy and disaster recovery. So my bad. Yep. Carry on.
All right, let's move on to number 7 on this list. Those internet-facing systems we joke about. Do you host your own website internally? I really hope not, but if you do, something to worry about.
That's my web server in the corner back there. No, it's not.
I think physical security is lacking here, but that's not on this list, though. RDP on the internet, remote desktop. A lot of people during the pandemic used it.
It works.
It was a no-no then. It's still a no-no. Your firewall interface on the internet, bad idea.
It started becoming a no-no 20 years ago, both of those.
If you have something internal that you've exposed to the internet, that is an attack vector. That could be you remote desktoping into your environment. Could be email, if you're still running on-site email. I really hope you're not, but if you are, that's another option. Web services, sometimes people still host their own CRMs on-premise or even in the cloud. Again, if it faces the internet, it's a danger. You really need to make sure that you're doing as much to protect it as possible, which logs will save you on this. If you're analyzing logs and you have other tools involved, you can see when attacks are happening. So scanning your perimeter consistently is important, and also doing like vulnerability assessments, things like that, but that's not really on this list right now. So moving on to number 8, email authentication. I want to add on to this one, but so DMARC, SPF, DKIM. Does anybody truly know what that means outside of tech?
They just know their email hits spam or doesn't get somewhere.
Honestly.
Or someone sent an email as that wasn't set up right.
You know what? I'd argue that a lot of people inside of tech don't understand DMARC, SPF, and DKIM.
Yeah, because a lot of people set them up and just say, just put none or put it in there just to have the record so things get validated quickly, but really don't enforce
But there's
it.
no monitored address or monitoring system, or that's probably true.
One of the things that, it's true. One of the things I really wonder about DMARC, and what I don't see people do, is they don't set it up properly. And I just want to focus on that one for a second. Setting the reject is super important, but I don't see people do it.
So could I say that that's like having a lock on a door versus locking the door? Because if you set the DMARC policy, cool, but if you're not actually rejecting, stuff still goes, right? Stuff still gets spoofed. Would that be an acceptable Chris Techie Guru?
Say that again.
I'm thinking of the DMARC policy of basically allow versus reject is locked door versus non-locked door. Like, sure, you have a door with a lock on it, but you got to lock the door. Well, you got to actually enforce the policy. Set it to reject.
I changed it a little bit. So do you have a ring camera or something like that, or an external camera?
I would never tell you what cameras I have. Let's pretend I do.
All right, let's say you have a ring camera. If you look at that camera and somebody's outside your house and they're knocking on your door, do you recognize that person or don't you recognize that person? If you don't recognize that person, are you immediately going to open the door? Probably not.
That's a better analogy.
Yeah. If you recognize that person, there's a good chance you're going to open the door and let them in.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what a DMARC policy with reject is. Basically, if that email fails authentication through your SPF, say it easily, it won't get to your inbox. It's really good protection against phishing, and a lot of people don't set that up properly. So that's how I would say it. A little bit deeper than that.
No, I like it.
So setting that up, I think, is critically important. Let's talk about sandboxing suspicious files. I mean, I like it when people send me files all the time through email. Well, that's what it was designed for, right? Sending files.
Sure.
Zip files with exe files in them, especially.
So I will say this: if you send me a file and you expect me to look at it in the next 5 minutes, I probably can't, because it's being sandboxed. It's being scanned before I can even look at it. Now my setup is a little different than what I do for customers, in that I'll get the email and I have to wait for the scanning to get done. Whereas for my customers, we hide it because that's a big no-no. Don't do that to non-technical people. If they see the email and they can't click on the attachment, they're going to lose their mind and like
it's broken.
Open a support ticket. Yeah. But we're a little different internally here. But again, if you send me a file, I'm not going to be able to see it till it's scanned. But does that mean it's 100% safe? No. But it's another layer of protection.
I would actually take this list one step further and actually enforce encryption for the incoming messages, at least TLS encryption. I enforced it for a title agency once. Yeah. And they could no longer communicate with their upstream title company, title provider, because that provider was sending unencrypted emails over the internet.
That's probably a lot of fun data.
Yeah.
You mean the mail servers weren't
the mail transports were not the mail. So the mail transport wasn't encrypted. It wasn't SSL encrypted.
He's not talking about encrypting the actual email. He's talking about just the transport.
Right, and transport. Emails. But if you grab something that's encrypted, it's useless. The way that was.
everybody now, like Microsoft to Microsoft, that transfer is encrypted, and I think Google to Microsoft's encrypted too. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken there.
I still come across random third-party mail servers, though.
We still have people out there running email on their web server. And
sitting on cPanel version.
But you can get unlimited POP3 accounts in IMAP. Unlimited.
God. With the 10 megabyte mailbox limit.
Well, there's no security to them either, right? Normally, there's no security to it. I would even take this one step further. To Bob's point, I would add that you really need to have the ability that if a suspicious link gets through or suspicious email gets through, you can recall that link from anybody's mailbox and remove it.
Yep.
Like, I think that should be a minimum requirement for the way you're doing email today. Because sometimes you don't know that it's a phishing link. It tests clean, it's fine, but as soon as it's reported and it's tested further, maybe something gets reported. A lot of mailbox, a lot of Microsoft specifically can go back in and take.
I had to help a non-security client with just that last Thursday. One person clicked the link, spread to every other mailbox, 16 mailboxes, 567 emails sent with the same link to their cohorts. Anyway, they didn't know until someone called them. The point is, protections weren't in place, but because we know what we're doing in the Microsoft tenant, and thankfully it was properly licensed, poof, we just made them all disappear. They no longer existed. A lot of systems you can't do that.
Properly licensed, I love it.
Properly, well, it was after I got in there. It was not properly licensed to start with.
That's fair. All right, let's move on to number 9. And reduce administrative privileges. What? I can't just install anything I want. Ridiculous. What do you mean I can't install this browser that nobody uses that I found on the internet?
But it's mine.
I mean, all jokes aside, please do not run as an administrator.
Ever. I don't. You don't. Bob doesn't.
No, I run as a super admin. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
God damn it, Chris. Stop confusing people.
Gets it done faster.
Here's the thing with running as an admin. Let's easiest thing. If you download a piece of software and it requires administrative privileges to install it, you can't install it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some apps get around this because they're like, oh, you're not administrating the computer? Well, guess what? We can install it to your app data. Which can affect you, but it shouldn't be able to spread to the rest of the computer. However, this is not infallible. If something is bad enough and you have enough privileges as yourself, there's things like privilege escalation and stuff like that can still happen. But again, this is just the bare minimum of what you should be doing. Just don't run as that
mitigation. And layers. I need an onion. We need like an onion with layers.
They're talking about like in devices. I see people running as global administrator Microsoft 365 accounts as an owner.
That was part of my Thursday fun last week.
Dude, like don't
do that.
Whatever software you use, whether it's in the cloud, on your computer, wherever, just your normal Windows, don't run as an admin, please. Have a special account.
You know what, though? 20-second segue on that. Talking about not running as admin or being logged in as global admin in 365, Google, whatever. There's no license cost to make an unlicensed admin account. So if you're a small place, you can't afford to do everything perfect. It's funny. I was telling the story of the hack at my physical therapist this morning. And they're like, oh, my God, I'm a global admin. And they have like 20 accounts. So before I left, I actually helped them set up an unlicensed global admin account that they're not logged into all the time. This crap's free. It doesn't take long.
It's another step, though. It's a
tiny layer of the onion. Don't think that's everything.
No, but the argument is it's another step, right? They think, oh, I'm safe. I won't click on anything, whatever. Look, people click on stuff. You're stressed out for the day. There's a chance you're going to click on something, give somebody access to something that they shouldn't have given them access to, ran something you shouldn't have ran.
We all make mistakes. So, like, even I don't want to be able to click on something that happened.
Yeah. So we know you're all run as admin, especially on Windows, right? Because when you first log into a Windows box, especially if it's a personal device, you're an admin. There's steps that need to be taken. At least on Mac, they like ask you 100,000 times to do anything administrative.
But and then some.
Yeah. Oh, incident response point. Here we go. All right.
How many of these are there left?
Just 10. This is it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There's 5 last week, 5 this week. All right. Do you have an incident response plan?
I do. Absolutely.
Do you have an incident response plan for how do you deal with your customers?
I do.
Do you practice it?
Not quarterly.
We should actually schedule that. Do your customers all have an incident response plan? The ones that listen do.
Yeah. Do you call your local FBI field office in the middle of your incident response plan and just say this is an incident response training practice run? I don't do that. Actually, I don't do that. So
they didn't answer the phone for that.
Inside of our incident response plans, though, for the communication part, we do have the FBI, local FBI field office, right? insurance company, lawyer, whoever else you want to get involved. Everybody on the communication side should be included.
But you don't usually call 911 during a fire drill either, so I get the point.
And I would argue, and I think running a 60-minute focus tabletop quarterly is a good idea. I don't think anybody does it. Most of the tabletops I've seen are annual, maybe semi-annual. 60 minutes quarterly. That's probably
it's a lot.
I think it's a good thing. 60 minutes is pretty short, at least, but I still think this is
on
something.
The organization too. I mean, that could be worth it for, say, financial advisor place that has access to millions and millions and millions, but maybe not everyone.
I like the evidence preservation procedures. This is probably lacking in most incident response plans.
Logs.
Not just logs, though. There could be physical. It could be physical as well, right? Look, this would take too long to jump into this, but like if you don't have an incident response, you either know you have an incident response plan or you don't. You either practice it or you don't. Both are good. Well, having one is the first step. Practicing it, make sure that everybody knows their role in the incident response plan is really critically important. And then, I mean, I don't know if I would include the contact in the plan like they say here. I would definitely not just go out, reach out and contact them. I would add your state police too to this, because a lot of times if it's a state crime first, especially a cyber crime, it'll go to the state police and they usually have direct line to the FBI.
And you might just need an incident, like a police report incident number 2 for insurance purposes. But also one thing on that incident response plan, don't forget that some insurance providers require they're the first call. So that needs to be adjusted accordingly on some.
That's a good point. And that's where you have you need to understand that before. Yeah, you need to understand that before you actually try to even practice. That's during the build process. So talking to your insurance agents is going to be really critical here, and make sure that you understand if they are the first call, they're the first call. Talk to your lawyer too. Another good one to talk to. So that's it. We've covered all 10. I think this is a pretty good list. I think there's more to it than that. I think we've talked about a little bit about some of the changes that should be made, but it's not perfect, but you know what, to go from nothing to going through these 10 steps, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Done beats perfect every time. Well, I shouldn't say done. I think you have to start somewhere is probably a better statement.
You have to start someplace, but you also have to test it, right? Like you got to make sure that you're testing this stuff.
But sticking your head in the sand is not an option these days. It's just not. It's not if, then when. It's soon these days, to be honest.
Well, and they didn't even talk about specifically. This is tied around China and like state actors and stuff like that. Basic cyber hygiene too, but they didn't include like some of the AI stuff. Like what happens if somebody just decides to open up OpenClaw in your environment and not tell anybody and just start running it on their network, especially if they're admin privileges.
That might be a couple episodes in its own right. The implications of that and data silos. The way Chris is smiling, this might be more than an episode. This might be a series.
Let me just put it this way. Somebody released a pwn kit for OpenClaw where you can get a reverse shell and take over the entire thing. So there's an actual pwn kit published. So if you run OpenClaw, bless your heart. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. You need to understand the security implications of that. But I think it's a good list. I think maybe that's something we can talk about in the future. But if you have any comments, drop them down below. Let us know. Next week we'll come up with some different topic.
Next week I'll try to be in a real office.
There you go. That works.
Catch you later, guys.
See you guys later. See you next week.